It's so hard. It's so hard to express how good he is.
The only players that you can really compare him to are Messi and Ronaldo.
Mo Salah is one of the greatest players in the world.
I think it's taken a lot of people by surprise, but also a lot of people saw it coming. I think we're certainly signing in the summer. I think you could make a case for him being Player of the Year.
I must admit, when I originally saw Salah was signing for Liverpool, I thought, oh, come on, you've got Mane, don't be so greedy.
So when Liverpool were linked with Mo Salah, I think I was a little bit apprehensive. I guess at best I thought, oh well, look, you can see he's got quality, he's fast, he's going to clip up. He'd had a really good season or two really good seasons for Roma. Yeah, I didn't expect him to be quite so good.
I think the reason it's working so well for Salah at Liverpool is partly a Premier League thing. Clearly he's grown so much in Italy. There's so much more space behind English defences than there is behind Italian ones. His numbers, his output, his just way of exciting fans and just changing the pace of the game is absolutely extraordinary. I
think Mo Salah's success is in part down to how he's being utilised by Jurgen Klopp, and I think that's a massive part. But I think another part of it is just his character. He's such a driven person. You read interviews with him and you see him talk, and he talks a lot about self-improvement and about setting targets for himself. And the failure at Chelsea, I think, was a real defining moment in his career.
It's depressing that it didn't work for him at Chelsea, because I would give almost anything to have him in the side.
I think he found the move to Chelsea too big a leap and too soon.
I think you could say that he was only 21 years old, he'd only played in Egypt and Switzerland, and he wasn't ready for it. But equally, somebody at Chelsea should be recognising the potential there.
Even though people see it as a year of treading water, it's clear that he learnt so much in that time. He was scoring 5, 6, 7 goals a season in the Swiss Super League, to all of a sudden making a major impact in the top end of Serie A showed, I think, that he learnt a lot at Chelsea. So to say that was wasted time would not be fair or accurate.
From the second he left Chelsea, he seems to have had this burning desire to prove everyone wrong and be the best, or certainly one of the best.
It's less the rebuilding of his career in Italy, more the building of his career, because of course he was still 22 when he went over to Fiorentina. And it was absolutely the right club for him to go to, because it's a big club, a good traditional club, but not one of the absolute elite clubs. And I think for that reason, there was not that much pressure on him. And also I think people underestimated him. People were taken aback a little bit by his pace. But after people grasped that side of him, he had to learn another way to play. He had to be a little bit more patient. Well, Fiorentina loved him so much. That's why when he left for Roma, and there was this legal wrangle because they thought they had the option to keep him for a further year, it broke their hearts. And because they'd been very close to him, the fans had really taken to him. They used to sing this song, "We come here to see Salah score." It didn't quite hurt them to the extent that Baggio or Batistuta leaving would have done. If you're talking about, say, when Montolivo left for Milan, it was in the same sort of bracket as that, and when he came back with Roma the following season, he got quite a hot reception.
And now, here's the thing about Liverpool, we embrace our heroes, whether they're good boys or bad boys. There is something very much that I think Liverpool need in Mo Salah, in that he's not a controversial figure, he's not a narc, he's not a dickhead, but having a guy you can hold up as a poster child, and not just a poster child for the good things and smiling things and posing with kids and whatever, but as a symbol for the multicultural inclusivity of Liverpool as well. I think Salah's perfect. Although the Salah Muslim song, I say it's not a Liverpool fans have decided to do this to celebrate his faith. It's the fact that they just don't bat an eyelid about it. We don't care, we love him and we'll embrace him. It's irrelevant really where he's from, that's the point.
The time that he signed for Basel was around the time the revolution happened in Egypt. There was no football, there was no life, there was nothing going on. Everything was literally frozen. And it came to him it was a good thing. It was almost like a way out, because we have players in Egypt that didn't do anything for like a couple of years.
How did football and Arab Spring become intertwined? You can't really separate the two. I went to Egypt in 2007 and you had Hosni Mubarak, the former president, in power. It was a very, they had basically his secret police were kind of completely dominant. Society was very unfree, very poor. It wasn't a very nice place to visit. You can see why the Arab Spring came about. People were desperate for change and desperate to have some form of say over their lives. I mean, corruption was running rampant, and you have this kind of then this Tahrir Square where it all breaks free. And football plays a really important role in this, because there was basically no opposition to Mubarak, very little opposition. The only place you'd really see it is in the mosque. The other was football terraces. So you had ultra groups for Al Ahly, which is by far the biggest team in Africa, and Zamalek and some of the smaller teams as well. These guys were kind of fighting the police and the authorities, and started to sing kind of anti-regime songs in the run-up to the revolution. So when the revolution happened, these guys were on the front line. And in January, when thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people poured into Tahrir Square, these people had no real experience of civil society or of political opposition in any way. And so when the violence began, the ultras were actually kind of protectors of the revolution. That's how they were seen afterwards. And they were there kind of really on the front lines. And they played, you could say, a kind of important role in how that was won and how eventually Mubarak was toppled. One of the most tragic single moments was when 72 Al Ahly fans were killed at Port Said. There was a football match going on there. And the whole thing stinks. It wasn't an accident, it was planned. And there are several kind of security figures in Port Said who have gone to jail for this. Basically, Al Ahly and the ultras of Al Ahly, the Akhlawi, had become this kind of post-revolutionary heroes in a way. Their songs were the songs of the revolution, their banners were the banners of the revolution. And this was payback from the deep state, from the deep security state. This incident basically ended football in Egypt for several years. The league was stopped. No league teams were allowed to play. Mohamed Salah, who plays for Arab Contractors, which is a kind of third, fourth kind of team in Egypt, and they've only won the league once. But if the Port Said hadn't happened, if the revolution hadn't happened, then he probably wouldn't have gone to Basel when he went. What was probably most likely for Mohamed Salah would have been to have gone to Al Ahly, which is by far the biggest team.
When the revolution started in 2011, everyone was united together. There was a feeling that there's a time for change and we're all in it together. And then with any kind of revolution, divisions start to occur when sort of, powers being shared, etc. The division became about political affiliations, became about religious affiliations, became about social class.
And there's not much good news in Egypt. It's a pretty dire situation politically. The revolution has been destroyed. The poverty is rampant. The tourism industry has been destroyed, which was a huge industry in Egypt. So it's a difficult place to live.
No one gets on. Nobody trusts each other. There's nothing that unites people anymore. And nobody could see anything that could possibly everyone could agree on. They were that divided. So when Salah came along, it was literally the first time after the revolution that people thought, we all agree on this, that we all love this guy is amazing.
He's done something that Egypt hasn't done since 1990, which is get to the World Cup finals. And it became this kind of mania over the years I've seen of Egypt trying and failing to get to the World Cup finals. So at the moment, there's no doubt that he's number one in Egypt.
Everyone thought there's no way this national team can make it. It was rubbish, the whole team, there's no one good. The keeper is 42 years old, all the good players retired. And people thought, no chance we're making it.
So the Burj Al Arab Stadium, where this famous game against Congo, where they look like they're gonna mess it up again.
Egypt was leading 1-0, and then a goal that he scored, and then they conceded in the 86th minute, and the camera left the whole crowd and all the players and was focused on Salah, and Salah was on the ground literally crying, screaming, but at the same time looking at the players and trying to get them to come to the halfway line and to get going again. Complete mix of emotion within just him. And then 4 minutes later, you've got 70,000 odd people in a stadium. You've got 100 million people. All their expectations are resting on this person's shoulder. That moment, the 90th minute of their final game where they got a penalty and everyone backed off, and you just saw him going towards the ball because he is like pure hope for Egyptians, and he got Egypt to the World Cup to 30 years. So 100 million Egyptians. Now, I don't think you will meet a single one that will have a bad feeling towards Salah.
He is a hero right now. You know, that shows you, when you saw the kind of outpouring on the streets, it shows you that there is this, unity might be kind of the wrong word, but it's certainly kind of an escapism, and it's certainly, a very rare point where people are extremely proud of what their national football team is achieving. And I think that there's very little light in Egyptian society and politics right now, and Salah and the Pharaohs, I think, give at least a little bit of it.
Is he the best player to come out of Egypt? By a country mile. I mean, you have Egyptians that have fond sort of connection with Abu Treka. It was the second best player for me. But what Salah has accomplished, there's no one that came anywhere near it.
There's no hiding him. You know, the Premier League is watched all over the world, and he's someone who's really caught the imagination all over the world this season. So Real Madrid or Barcelona want one of your players, they will get them. I think that's a real concern for Liverpool. I think the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo's evolving into something else, Messi's going into his 30s and his game is subtly changing as well, that's only going to give more light to Mohamed Salah in the next couple of years.
The key for Liverpool to keep hold of Mohamed Salah, the same way it is for Harry Kane or Tottenham Hotspur, is he's going to match these players' ambitions. You know, people don't come to football clubs because they love the football club. We've seen it with Felipe Coutinho, we saw it with Xabi Alonso, we saw it with Javier Mascherano, Luis Suarez. If you get the call off of Real Madrid or you get the call off of Barcelona, it can be difficult.
When he is up for sale, I would not be surprised if it is a Neymar-style transfer fee.
What price is a 30 to 40 goal a season player? These are the elite of the elite. These are the guys who break world transfer records.
Definitely 200 plus. There's no way it will be any less.
Could anyone afford it? What's he going to go for?